Hello, folks. Welcome to Earworms. Tonight, we have a discussion on Phil Collins, our great chatter, our rock in the chat. Scott Halvid recommended that we do Phil Collins, so we're going to do it. He was great with the recommendation for the Fifth Element, so we'll see how Phil fills your desires tonight. Now, Phil Collins is an artist that has such a storied career in so many things that he did that I'll say we'll give it a general overview and then we'll kind of maybe focus more on the years in Genesis, especially maybe some of the earlier years, like first half of the 70s, something like that. But we'll see where it goes. We'll see where the conversation goes and flows. But this might be something we'll come back to, especially we'll be coming back to Genesis in the future and maybe doing things like an album at a time so we don't run out of things to do. So anyway, without further ado, I am going to introduce my panelists and which means I gotta play the right video. Don't want to get in trouble playing the wrong one here. Let's see. Here we go. Liza Sahido from the Psyche Electroacoustic Opera Company.
Yep.
Let me join you in avatar mode here. And that's all you have to say for yourself is yep.
Well, if you've seen my latest video, I've been deposed from my company by my CFO. So, yeah, it's tough. It's been
Yeah,
tough.
if you get a chance, check out the latest video on Psyche Opera. Link in the description. Just at Psyche Opera. Liza's been working on that video for a few days now, and it's a good one.
If you are a retiree of the corporate world or are entrenched in it now and trying to escape it, you will resonate with the video.
Yeah, you will find a lot of tongue-in-cheek corporate speak there.
Yes.
All right, so let's welcome on board our documentary filmmaker, flautist, guitarist, guitarist, and
Yes.
sitarist, and all these fun things, Mr. Mike Gorley. Here he is.
Hello.
Well, hell, I think I'm going to have to leave and go watch this video.
I've piqued interest. Yay.
Well, I've been painting all weekend and just got done mowing the lawn. So,
Wow.
I finished my painting kitchen project.
Wow.
Nice.
So, yeah, I've been really busy. So, haven't been on the YouTube much this weekend, but I will check that out.
Yes,
Very
Mike.
good.
And I still have to check out your documentary about the great Gabriel Marin and crew. So I look forward to doing that as well.
Yes, there you go. Well, you know, life gets busy sometimes.
It does.
Yes, it did get busy for me this week, but I was still able to reacquaint myself with Phil a little bit.
Yes.
And so we're going to move on with that.
Yes.
It's Phil Collins guy you guys are talking about.
Well, we have you covered.
There he
guy.
is. Classic Phil Collins.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's been a few years.
Well, in the 80s, he was someone you could not escape. It was-
Nope.
Well, I saw Genesis. I looked it up because we're doing this Phil Collins thing. I saw him in 1978 and then again in 1981.
mm. So 81, that
I kind of saw him on the tail end of the old music they were doing,
yeah.
and then kind of when they were going kind of more into some of the poppy stuff. So
Yeah, that probably was a tour after the album Duke, I believe was the one around that
81,
time.
yeah, yeah, 78 I think was, and then there were three.
Yeah,
So they were
yep.
still doing a lot of the old songs then. They did a lot of the old songs in 81 too, but
Hmm.
yeah. So
Well, in case folks want to get acquainted, I do have a bunch of information here. And like I said, I kind of like focus a little bit more on 70s and 80s um, because, I don't know. You have to narrow things down a bit because he
oh
did
my
so
god, yeah,
much.
you'd be able going all night.
So here we go. Born in 1951, and he accomplished. Here's a few pictures just to show you some of the accomplishments over the years. And usually people don't lead with this, but he was a childhood actor. Phil Collins was born in, well, actually the birthplace was slightly different. Let's just say that he was raised, you know, since 2 years old and onward in Chiswick and in London. And he went to like a drama school at age 14. He kind of left the regular old grammar school and went into the drama school and learned some acting. And we'll have a video where he talks about that a little bit. But here's a picture of him in an episode of Miami Vice. He actually is on that. And he also did a film here named Buster. I don't think I ever saw it. And so who knows what that is, but he was like all around pop star in the 80s for sure. But he did also win an Oscar, but that was for the music of Tarzan, a Disney film. Now, last time, Mike, you said that he did the music for another Disney thing called The Bear,
Brother Bear.
Brother Bear.
Brother Bear. Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess
Um,
this one probably went over a little bit better. So, this is where he won the Oscar for,
I know he should have won one, but yeah, it was. I was looking it up. 2003 was when Brother Bear came out.
oh, okay. Wow. So,
Yeah.
all right. So this is The Strangers Like Me and a couple other songs from this film where, on the charts and stuff. And, but, it's one of the many things he did. In addition to all this acting and music for film, he started off as a drummer. Well, actually, I guess as an actor technically, but then a drummer. He shifted gears into music pretty early in his acting career, and his main influences were things like Motown and soul. Um, Soul being kind of like the southern U.S. sound, and Motown being like the northern U.S. sound. And But he listened to a lot of different things, and was basically like a blue collar working drummer, going around playing the gigs that he could get. And we'll kind of look at how he got into Genesis in just a little bit. But the way he is mostly known, I guess, especially if he grew up in the 80s, was as a vocalist because his vocals, I guess, resonated. And I would say, yeah, he's a good vocalist and everything, but it's kind of amazing how somebody with pretty much almost like a guy next door type of presence, um, you know, took the industry by storm because, believe it or not, in the 1980s, that decade, if you count Phil Collins solo as well as any collaborations where he was the vocalist, including Genesis, basically anything that he did as vocalist, if you count that all together as one thing, he had more top 40 hits than anybody else in the 80s. So
There you
it's
go.
like,
Wow. Yeah, okay.
so it was
He was a
pretty
great
big
front
deal.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a very good entertainer, great in concert.
All right. Yeah. Now we're going to look at some of the accolades here. Like I've been mentioning some of them, but just like, for example, 3 number one singles with Genesis. When he was in the band, that means number one singles, like songs that made it to that one spot. And also 7 number one singles as a soloist. And we'll be talking about the shift from Genesis to soloist coming up. But just some interesting points here. And then between Genesis and solo, like I just said, he had the most top 40 hits in the 80s. And that's the time when Michael Jackson was going strong. I think Michael Jackson may
Really?
have had the album sales and stuff like that, but if you just pick your records, or shall we say these accolades accurately,
Accolades. Is that a
whatever,
Freudian slip? Accolades.
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if you,
Well, the thing is, in the 80s, were these uh, accolades legit? Were they market based, or
well, I mean, it
was
depends
it
on how you look at it. The top 40 charts, meaning Billboard's top 40. Phil had more songs on that top 40 when you count all 40 of the slots. Um, so that would be like, the record that he set in the 1980s. Michael Jackson, I think, like Thriller, like had the album sales or something like that. I mean, depends on what metrics you're using.
no?
So,
But what I'm asking is, what metrics did the award givers use to select the winners?
well, the charts are supposed to be based on sales of units, you know, record, tape at that time, eventually CD. So the units sold, but it's kind of weird because the charts also reflect like if an album's about to be released and stores order like these albums to put them on the shelves, that counts as the sales. So it's like before the consumer, so to speak. I think there are some metrics for the consumer, but that's how, like, when something comes out, it's like number one right away because it's like, the pre-sales, so to speak. And that gets it there. And then it's like, how long does it last there? As soon as it starts getting decided how many units are going to be returned and stuff like that. But that's even an older model because now it's like hardly anything's physical anymore in music. You know.
Well, now things are easier to track. Now it's easier to track what consumers are actually buying, or customers, excuse me.
Well, it's
Yeah.
hard now because you got Spotify and everything else, so people aren't buying. We've had that discussion.
Yeah, it's like a subscription, so, then it has to count on plays.
But they can track what you're playing, right?
Yeah,
So
obviously.
there's metrics should be set by what people are actually listening to, and
Well, now they
nowadays,
can.
yeah.
I don't know how things are doing now because, I really haven't been too involved in the music industry anymore.
The
Well,
music
even the big
industry
guys
dropped
now
anyway.
aren't making a mint out of music sales. They're where the money is in live performances.
Yeah, exactly,
Even
and
even for the
merchandising.
huge, yeah, even for the huge acts, it's been
Mhm.
like that for a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe even since well before Napster. So this is, you know, right now music as the way things are set up is just kind of like an advertisement for the product you're actually monetizing. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality.
Yeah, it is. It's almost like, well, if you think about it, it's like people get to hear it, and then if they wanna see it live, that's when you really get paid, you know?
And
Yeah.
selling
So the
merch.
I Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And then, of course, with labels and publishers and everything, it's like there's so many hands in that pot too. So,
Yeah, that's
uh,
absolutely true, Scott Halvett. He has a good comment there.
and what
John
is that?
Mellencamp, John Mellencamp said that artists get paid pennies now for their music. It's been like that though, Scott, for a very, very long
Oh
time.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, even the
yeah.
Rolling Stones, all of these big names rely
Well,
on live performances.
well, originally it was because the labels, their standard contracts were pretty, um, shall we say that it was a small percentage for the artists unless they were big. And there was like a time where, like, I
It's still
guess
like that.
where it was only like, I forget the percentages, the exact ones, but just say like a small percent of artists
My
were
friends,
were profitable in sales.
this is still the reality. Don't be fooled. And if you're in the entertainment industry and you aren't sitting down with an entertainment attorney on your side, do not let a company attorney review things like for you. Get
Hmm.
your own entertainment attorney. You'll save yourself some money and heartache.
Oh
The
yeah.
labels are still doing this. And
Oh
by the
yeah.
way, labels are slowly but surely becoming, because of platforms like YouTube, um, obsolete. Why?
Well, no, they're vertically integrated and horizontally integrated into,
Well,
multifaceted
nowadays,
companies now because
nowadays
the
they do
publishers and the labels are all like in the same house now.
they do all of their scouting on social media, and if you're large enough to get their attention, you're large enough not to need them. So please,
Hmm.
if you are going to look, if you're thinking about getting signed, get yourself an entertainment attorney and do not let the company offer you their own. Oh, look, we'll just,
Oh no,
you can, well, she's independent
no,
and
you'll get
no, get
you'll
your own.
get in a contract where they basically own you for the rest of your
Do
life.
not, yes. And so
And if you do anything successful, then they take it.
these people have no morals
Hmm.
and and really, if you're, again, if you're large enough to capture their attention, you do not need them. Leverage your social media, people. So,
Well, anyway, Phil got 8 Grammy Awards and 6 Brit Awards, they call them. 2 Golden Globes and 1 Academy Award, the Oscar mentioned earlier. So there we go. That's like some of those accolades. And now we're going to move on to something we call early years.
Man, those catchy titles.
Yeah, so I say he grew up in Chiswick because, oh man, you look at it. He was born in London, a different section, and then they moved around a few times. And by the time he was 2, that's where his family settled down. His father was in insurance, and his mother was in theater, and performances. So that's kind of like where he got the influence of getting into acting later. Um, let's see what happened here. Yeah, it's age 14 when he quit. They call it grammar school back then, but basically regular school. I guess that has something to do with the trivium, grammar, rhetoric, and what is the what is the last one?
I,
Logic, grammar, and rhetoric. Sorry, excuse me.
yeah.
So yeah, so grammar is basically the school you go to, but I guess you were able to leave it if you wanted to somehow. But at age 14, he switched to acting school and got into that a little bit. And then it wasn't long. It was like, let's see, 14 plus 51, 65. In about 3 years, he did that. And then he switched to music in 68, 1968. And that basically got him on, I guess, the right path for the rest of his life. Even though he did some acting afterwards, it was mostly for fun and because he was just a superstar in the 80s. But yeah, he grew up loving Motown and soul. So it was some good old music from the United States that really floated his boat. Now, Genesis was not exactly that. It was a plethora of things in progressive rock. But later in life, he did go and do some soul things and even an homage to Motown, which we can talk about. And then swing. And he really liked, idolized Buddy Rich, the swing band drummer.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And let's see here.
That's a
Never
big
learned to
influence.
read music. So,
Well, neither did Pavarotti.
oh, wow. So basically, he would hear things and had, I guess, a very good memory for that. And but he did use his own types of notation on paper for whatever they were writing, and he needed to remember which beats and what rhythms to use. And a lot of the progressive rock stuff had polyrhythms and um, all sorts of interesting meters and stuff like that. So
You gotta feel that stuff out anyways.
oh yeah, you got to
You
feel
can
that stuff.
you can count till the cows come home. If you don't understand it physically, you're not gonna get it.
Well, I have a message there for myself to play video clip 1. So let me load that up.
Hey,
Uh-huh. And
that's fine.
Yeah, come on.
yeah,
Do it. Do it.
I'm working on it.
Go.
We need to make some money for the corporate mongers.
Yes.
Play it all very long.
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. We
Oh,
are in
Scott's cracking
video
up.
mode. Yeah.
Oh,
I
Scott.
cracked up a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah, me too, Mike.
I'm just cracked. Here we go.
Just don't do crack.
GMC presents Center Stage with Michael K. Now,
From a show called Center Stage. I see you there.
The center stage.
Hey, never heard of it before, but this
Me
is a good
either.
intro because you hear a little bit about the early life, and this Michael K gives you a nice rundown and a more exciting voice than I did of some of the highlights.
here's your host, Michael K.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome to Center Stage. Today's guest is a native of London, England. As a child, he enjoyed acting and playing the drums. At the age of 19, he answered an ad in a music trade newspaper by a rock band seeking a drummer, and he got the gig. 5 years later, the group's lead singer left, and he became the face and sound of Genesis. By the end of the 1970s, the band Genesis would begin recording hits. In the early 1980s, he did the same with his own music. As a solo artist and band member, he would score more top 40 hits in the 1980s than any other artist. Over the course of his career, he has sold over 250 million records and CDs, scored 9 #1 singles, 7 Grammy Awards, and won an Oscar. This Hall of Fame musician and songwriter's latest release is Going Back, a tribute to America's Motown sound.
I think this was 2009 or 2010, somewhere in that area, that he did this interview, and that's what Phil was kind of doing at the time, the homage to Motown. And
Very
he
cool.
and actually they actually got the Funk Brothers to play on it, or whatever remaining Funk Brothers there were at the time. The Funk Brothers was the basically the rhythm section that recorded like the Motown hits. They were the in-house band because the way they did things back then, vocalists or anyone they saw as a pop star potential, they'd work in-house with writers like Smokey Robinson and stuff, and they just put together these songs, and the in-house band, the Funk Brothers, would record the music for it and then go out and tour it. So it was like all done in originally in one house in Detroit. So here we go.
Please welcome a headlining drummer, keyboardist, composer, rock singing superstar, actor, and humanitarian, Phil Collins.
How do you get to be called a humanitarian?
Good question.
Not sure what the criteria is.
Yeah.
You ever sit
Yeah.
back at night and go, wow, I've had a heck of a career?
Yeah, and it only really comes up when if I do something like this, people will say what you've done, and forgot that.
You did your first final farewell tour. Now, the one that you're on now, is that the second or the third final?
Yeah. There was multiple final farewell tours. Interesting, but
Did he want to retire but couldn't at
well, he named it
two
that.
points?
He named it that because he wasn't sure. He thought he'd probably be coming back at some point, so he called it his first final farewell tour.
Oh,
He named it that way up front. So, but it's good to think ahead like that because there's been artists that have done things like that where they did their final farewell and it wasn't. They needed more money. So,
yeah.
Final
Man,
farewell.
for one to earn that amount of money and then run out, what do you do?
well, I'm not saying that's the case with him. Maybe he really had a project he wanted to do. But yeah, I guess it's like some people live high on the hog and stuff, and I don't know. If you're not careful with it, it can leave you pretty quick.
Nah, well, 2004, my wife, at the time, we were going to have a baby, and I decided that with two young boys, we would, I'd sort of stop the touring. So I went out just one last time because I had this hearing problem in 2000, which I thought would stop it prior to that, but eventually, the brain kind of adjusts and you get used to it. So I thought it'd be nice to go out and just say goodbye to people, like go
Is
around
that
the
a
world and
drummer
just do it once
issue?
more. So that's what I did, and of course I called it something.
Could be, but there's other health things that can happen to give you. He didn't say what the hearing issue was. I
Right.
do have tinnitus.
Tinnitus.
Well, a lot of people say it. The correct way of pronouncing it is tinnitus.
Is it really? I've only heard it as tinnitus.
Or
This
you
is the
call it-
first I hear it as tinnitus.
Well, whatever. You tell me something that's a newfangled way of doing things and it's the right way, I'm all over it. So,
Yeah.
tiny tooth. So I don't know what it was to begin with, much less the cause. But yeah, playing drums and also playing drums in bands with really big amplifiers and really big speakers, that can hurt your hearing. Definitely.
Funny, like the first final farewell tour, just because it's, English humor.
All right, tell me about Going Back. It's a new record. It kind of honors Motown. Why?
Well, it's the music I grew up with. I mean, as well as the Beatles, which of course everybody grew up with. For me, it was the Motown records that I really gravitated to. So for me, it's the soundtrack of my life, and I've never sung these songs apart from in the school band.
You don't interpret these songs. You pretty much do them as they were done. Why'd you go that route rather than giving your own spin?
Well, because this is the way they sound best, I mean, it's strange because I am aware anyway that people will say, well, if you've got nothing new to do with it, why not just leave it alone? But it's purely selfish, I paid for this to be made because I wanted to sing it. And I think when people try to fool around with some of the classic stuff, you realise just how good the classic stuff was. So we went with every drum fill, every sound, even the way the stereo was split. We got three of the Funk Brothers, which were the guys that played on the original stuff. They came over and played on everything. It was fantastic fun.
When you were growing up, who was your favorite Motown artist?
Probably the Four Tops were, because they had, certainly in England where I lived, they had just one hit after the other, and they were just ran full
Wait,
of,
the Four Tops. Can you remind me
hooks and,
of one of their popular songs?
No, because I
Wait,
can't think of any at the time.
You put us on the spot.
Oh gosh.
Um,
I'm hearing a voice in my head, but not, the chorus of the song.
Baby, I need your loving.
There we go. There we go. Okay, I got it.
There we go.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
No
You
problem.
saved the day. And now I need to somehow get my mouse back. My
Now
mouse
you'll have
is
that song in your head all night.
Oh yes, I will have it in my head.
I was more of a Temptations guy myself.
You know, they were just such great songs.
Now, in the last couple of years, Phil, you've had some health issues. You mentioned the hearing and also your, your inability to play drums.
Yeah.
I mean, how has that affected you? I mean, this is something that you've done since you were a child.
Yeah, I don't think he plays drums anymore and hasn't for maybe like 20 years now or something, because he's going to talk about it here. But, that's how he started. And of course, when you're a vocalist, a lead vocalist, a lot of times you need to go out in front of the band and be a front man. So they had, Chester, I forget the last name. I have it written
Thompson.
down. Chester Thompson. Yeah. Basically, was the guy that was mostly the drummer for the band when he was with Genesis, at least.
Except for 1976 when Bill Bruford played.
Yeah, 1 year.
1 year.
That was cool. So anyway, let's see what happened to his back.
Yeah, well, it gives me some time to do something else. You know? I mean, I'm quite philosophical about it. You know, I've been playing since I was 5 years old, and I'm 59. You know, I kind of, that's a lot of bad sitting, a lot of bad posture.
Is that what did it with the vertebrae?
Probably, yeah. I think actually, no one knows because it never hurt me. So I was just wandering around with this thing. I had 4 vertebrae that were crushing my spinal cord, and I didn't know.
Right.
And I think the back just said, hey, enough, you know. But it didn't hurt. So my only knowledge that something was happening was the fact that my fingers were getting numb.
But no pain.
No pain, no. And so I had an MRI just to sort of start the ticking off the things that could be the problem for the fingers, numbness in the fingers. And the doctor straight away said, well, you've got these vertebrae that are crushing the cord. That must be it. So I had that operation, and they're all screwed back in place now. And and then I waited a year. Another doctor said, well, it's not happening. It's no different. So I went to another 2 specialists in another hospital, and they suggested I had an operation on my elbow and one on my palm, and now I'm just waiting. When I did the record, I taped the sticks to my hand.
I read that. Did you have to tape your hands closed?
Yeah.
And you still had the same feel?
No. No, it felt horrible. But I had to play, you know,
Right.
because I had the decision to make after we listened to a take, or as we were about to listen to a take, having done it. Did I
All
take
right,
the stick
so-
off or not? Because it was like really wrapped around, and
I think we're going to leave this documentary there because we have some other clips to play, and
Yeah. Let's get to the
and
music.
different eras. Oh, music! You want to actually hear music?
Yeah.
Oh, he did
Well-
that too?
It's called
Sometimes,
earworms.
sometimes, yeah, we do that. All right.
Sometimes, yeah, well, we can't, I mean, with a show called Earworms, music can't be like the Spanish Inquisition. You know, we should know that it's coming every show.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm going to make an announcement before it, though, because YouTube makes it hard.
It
makes it hard.
does.
All right. So let's see. Oh, yeah. Melody Maker. Melody Maker was the kind of like the Working Musicians magazine at the time, and or at least in Britain. And that's when that's where all the ads were for like open positions and stuff. So in Melody Maker, Phil saw an audition for Genesis, and he didn't really know a lot about the band at the time, just that they seemed to have been getting some fairly frequent gigs and stuff. So, that's great. And so it was 1970 that he auditioned. And I think at the same time he was auditioning with another musician, Mick Bernard, who was auditioning on guitar. Because the band, boy, especially to start, there were some lineup changes. It seemed like each album there was like a change. And I don't remember all the names of the people, but
So
Yeah.
this band didn't happen organically. It was created by a
Well,
label?
it's founded by no, it was founded by like Peter Gabriel, Tony Banks, and Mike Rutherford. And at the time they had a different drummer, so that changed. But those were the three core members. Um, and they were college friends or school friends, basically. They went to, I guess it was a school called Charter House that was like a pretty big school for, shall we say, you know, people of importance. So I think they had some affluence in their backgrounds, those three at least. And yeah, that they met in school and decided to form a band, and so they did. It wasn't a record label putting it together. If not, I mean, their sound, especially when you hear some of it coming up, was probably not something that a label would think of, you know. So, all right, the silence is deafening. So
We need music.
and later he does replace Peter Gabriel, who was the founding lead vocalist, and that replacement was in '75. There were 4 albums where, yeah, I need to continue video clip 1 because he does mention some Genesis coming up and then move on to 2. But, yeah, there was 4 albums where Gabriel and Collins were in the band at the same time, and those will be the ones that we'll be paying some extra attention to.
Of course.
Now let me go on over here back to this video. So my notes say to play a little bit more of this. Yeah, I know that he mentions this audition stuff coming up here.
You know, if I took it off, it was another 5-10 minutes to put it back in again. And as my doctor now. And
Let me fast
I'm
forward a
telling the
little bit.
story. I can't tell it any faster than this. And so sometimes I'd take it off, but other times I would walk around like
I
Dr.
can't see
Strange
my
does.
slider all that
With
well.
a stick in my hand that is likely to poke my eye out at any moment.
So there is hope that you could drum again without pain and without being
There is
taped.
hope. I mean, I can play, but I just can't play very well. You know, I mean, there's no way I've got the power that I did have. You know, if I had to play in the air tonight or something, I couldn't do that now. I mean, I could do it with one hand. But
You said it flippantly, you know, you can do other things, but 54 years you're doing this, and you're not just doing it, but you're one of the best that's ever done it. Do you miss it? Do you sit there and get sad and feel sorry for yourself?
yes.
I'm going to make you cry, Phil.
But
He seems like a nice
you know,
man.
it's nothing really. I mean, I've 50 years of mucking about, and now I've got to do something serious.
Now you mentioned In the Air Tonight, and in The Hangover, Mike Tyson plays the air drums. Did you know that was coming, and did you like it?
Oh, I loved it.
It's one of those songs that we're going to be talking about that, In the Air.
Yeah.
That one took on a life on its own with like all sorts of different remakes and everything, and it's like that's one that's going to last, you know.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can move the slider here because I know he talks
Speaking
about.
of In the Air Tonight, has anyone I never looked this up, but what is that song really about?
Oh, we are
Have
going to
you
hear
know?
that. We are going to hear that.
Okay.
We do
Oh,
have that
okay.
coming up.
He reveals it.
I was
Oh,
told
yeah.
by someone. I mean, obviously, if they're going to use your song in the film, they usually let you know because you have to buy the rights for it and all this kind of thing. But again, when you hear that Mike Tyson's going to sort of air drum to it in a proper film, you think, well, that's not going to happen. Someone's going to say,
Okay.
this was a good idea.
Well, actually,
last
I think I'm going to go to the clip 2 because
Do
I'm
it.
not hearing what I was remembering. So we are going to go here to clip 2, and yes, this one.
Well, it says you're offline.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, did we get axed?
Uh-oh.
No, the broadcast is still going. Your avatar says it's offline on
Oh.
EV Mux.
There he is.
Oh, okay. I get it. All right. There we go.
Yay.
Oh no, that's just it was waiting for me to load a video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my little video player thing. All right, so here we go
One of the best drummers of all time.
with Dan Rather.
And
Well,
wanted to
no,
recognize it, but when you first started with the band Genesis, you were the drummer, and Peter Gabriel did the vocals.
Yeah.
But then Peter decided he was going to go out on his own to
Yeah.
become a solo artist. Tell me about the evolution of the band Genesis up to the time you left it in when, 1996?
Yeah. Well, it was a school band, you know, I mean, at Charterhouse. And I didn't go to Charterhouse, I went to a drama school, you know, so it's completely different ends of the scale, you know.
Charterhouse being a rather famous British school.
Yeah, it was where officers and gentlemen were bred, you know. Anyway, that's how the band started. And in 1970, the drummer was fired and the guitarist left because he couldn't stand life on the road. And they were looking for a drummer, so I went, you know, because I was...
That was Anthony Phillips was the guitarist. He just couldn't do, like you said, the life on the road. So Mick Bernard came in, and then after that, Steve Hackett came in.
Wait, Steve Hackett, why is that name familiar?
I don't know.
That name is familiar.
He was a
So
guitar player for Genesis.
yep.
Well, apart from that, no, I mean, outside of Genesis, I've heard that name. I don't know. I'll
You're not
look him up.
thinking of Buddy Hackett?
Yeah.
No, not him. Let me look it up. Hold on.
All
Keep
right.
going.
Well, you'll
I'll-
probably find the guitarist for Genesis as the
There's
main
probably
result.
something else
Okay.
in there.
Well, anyway.
Well,
just,
later on, I think he played with Steve Howe, but anyway.
And then the drummer that got fired there was John Mayhew. The drummers didn't last. The first two drummers didn't last long. And then Phil came in and fortunately gave them a good 26 years. So
I was at that time I was a kind of a professional auditioner. You know, I went to lots of auditions and failed them all, and I was surprised because I was pretty good, you know. But with Genesis, I went along and I got the job, and we went out on the road as a four-piece for a while, and then we found a guitar player, so we were complete. However, we did an album called The Land Lies Down on Broadway in 1973-4, and Peter's wife was having a baby, and it was a complicated pregnancy. And that's really one of the reasons why he left. We did the album, we did the tour, but at the end of that, he left.
So now the band doesn't have a vocalist.
there's a little bit more to that. Basically, Gabriel also got an opportunity to work on a screenplay, and he wanted to do that and then come back to the band. But at that time, especially with the pregnancy being a hard one with his wife, he just really couldn't be doing the touring and needed some time anyway. And the band just, I guess they couldn't wait. So that's why Peter Gabriel left. So the funny thing is they eventually all went on solo careers after that anyway, not too long. Funny that, but anyway.
And we kept the news quiet because we didn't want people to write us off, you know, so we kept it quiet, but then one day it all came out, and we were writing A Trick of the Tail, which had some good material, and we were auditioning singers, and I was the one that taught, because my voice had been in the band as backing vocals, so I was teaching the guys that came in how to do things. We had audition pieces, and I ended up sounding better than they did. We went into the studio finally with the material written with one guy that we thought might make it, and that didn't go very well. So after that, I said, I'll have a go, you know. And everybody, I looked up in the control room, and everyone went like this, you know. So we did one song and then the other. And we went from strength to strength. I mean, a band like us, we had very loyal fans, and word of mouth got out. So even from the very early days, each album would do better, the crowds got bigger, more enthusiastic, and so it was a natural thing.
Now, is it true you have to be a little bit crazy to be a drummer?
Well, there have been some crazy drummers, actually. But the drummers are traditionally the guys at the back of the band with a sense of humor. And they're the ones, like I was with Genesis when I joined, that kind of break the atmosphere.
Right.
You know, there's this tension between old school friends.
Right.
The classic line that one of the guitar player in Genesis said was, it's like suddenly you cut back 40 years and it's like you stole my protractor. You know, and so drummers tend to just, you know, break that atmosphere with jokes.
Well, I'm just looking at a list here. I mean,
So that would be like, I guess a lot of the conflicts he's saying were between uh, Peter, Mike, and Tony, and because they had gone to school together, and drummer is there to kind of like cut the tension. So that's good. I think we're going to do a little bit of listening now for Liza,
Good.
which
Good.
means you'll see this showing offline for now until I load up a screen. I think it's time to hear a little bit of Genesis from this era. Chiefly like the 4 albums between 71 and 74. And so let me select the right tab if I can. There we go. All right. So do you guys see YouTube Music?
Yes.
There we
180
go.
volts. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Yep. And so what we're looking at here are, let's see, the first album after Phil Collins joined the band was Nursery Crime. And of course, in these albums, Peter Gabriel's still on vocals, so there was no singing from Phil. He was just playing the drums. However, he was a background vocalist. And they found that after a little while that he would just do all the background vocals because his voice blended well with Peter's. And they do have kind of like similar sounding voices in a way that, that blend was pretty much obvious. So we have Nursery Crime, then Foxtrot in 72, 73 had Selling England by the Pound, and 74 was The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway.
Yeah.
That was an epic album.
Yes, it was.
But I found things that I enjoyed on all of them. So I am going to play something here from Nursery Crime. Now, for those of you who are joining on the rewind and not with us live, usually if you want to hear some of the music, I do have to trim it out for the monetization reasons after like a day. So that way in the future, the song will probably be clipped out and you just will see it go on to the next thing.
Yeah, folks, we
Except,
hate doing that, but we work for every little tiny penny.
yeah,
So,
but you can go and join us live, in which case you can hear the music.
yes.
And we will also, whenever I do that, I do put links to the video on Rumble and Odyssey, and somehow they allow for fair use. So,
Yeah.
so they don't make you
Amazing.
cut things up
Imagine that.
I
like
know, right?
YouTube. All right, let's see here. You got any picks here, Mike? Seven Stones, I like.
That sounds good to me.
All right, here we go. Seven Stones, Nursery Crime.
The YouTube line, man.
No, well, if you're playing a film or TV show or something like that that is copyrighted, yeah, they nail you for long clips. With music, no, they just take the monetization, or send
They
it.
take the money and run.
Well, they send it to whatever publisher says they own it and stuff like that. So no, I don't get anything illegal there, but just kind of help out in the future. Usually after a day, I have that automatically trimmed by YouTube so that way I can retain some monetization. Since I announce everything I play, people can hear it and then come back to the stream and stuff if they're hearing it after the fact, or join us live. That's how I treat it. But I hate to pause it, but we need to keep moving along here. But I don't know, that's beautiful. But I also wanted to just at the end there let that flute play. Liza, who do you think is playing flute there?
I have no idea.
It's actually Peter Gabriel.
Really?
Yep, he's in the credits for playing flute and piccolo as well as oboe.
Wow.
Oboe.
Yes.
Interesting. This music has a completely different vibe than what I was expecting. I don't know this music, folks. Just so
Yeah,
you
this
know.
is not. She seems to have an invisible touch. Yeah. It's not
No.
doing
Well,
that.
I mean,
Well, you know, and the thing is the '70s. What did make the '70s so great was there is no other Genesis. There's no other band. They don't sound like somebody else. There is no, you know, like there's no other Yes, no other Emerson, Lake and Palmer. The list goes on. These bands were unique.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's like,
but
I
I
mean, there's
wasn't at
unique bands
all.
today,
Yeah.
but
Eh,
I mean, yeah, when they went into the '80s, things got a lot more poppy. I
yeah.
mean, it just is what it, you know, MTV, man, fucking MTV.
this
Oh,
is like it's like a long chant. It's through composed. Um, it's sort of psychedelic.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, they were in the genre of progressive rock, but none of the progressive rock bands really sounded the same. There were some techniques they used that you heard definitely, but it wasn't like the same thing, definitely. So
right.
it was really kind of a unique sound.
unique sound and not formulaic, which I understand why it was hard, I guess, for many people to latch on, you know?
Here, I'm going to play a timetable for the next album. This is the album called Foxtrot. I really enjoyed listening to all four of these albums last night. And so,
Place the sound, and now I understand.
well, you can share that with us. How about that?
Scott says there's a little David Bowie infusion in there. Scott, it's
Yeah.
not just a little, it's a lot. It's a lot of David Bowie in there. Um,
Well, the
I
voice
don't
is different, definitely.
no, no.
Yeah.
There's something about the man, there's something about the music, the lyrics. Um, it has that David Bowie feel. It just does. Was that a thing in the UK at the time? Was this a trend, this sound?
Uh,
Maybe we're giving them too much credit, folks.
well,
Maybe
to be honest
we're
with you,
giving them too much
other than
credit.
his voice, like different things from David Bowie, even at this time, sound quite different from one another. It's hard for me to say a David Bowie sound unless you're talking about some voice characters.
Well, Scott Holvett says yes. However, Bowie was doing Ziggy Stardust at the time.
Oh, okay. Iggy playing.
Look, I am not
Very
one of
good
these
with pretty
people
Gilly.
that
I
that
mean, I could say, yeah, definitely if you're approaching it from outside,
look. I don't judge an artist by their originality. Everything has been done under the sun, and the quality of what you do, whether it's original or not, or it doesn't matter. When Bach was writing, the style he was writing in was old as F, and nobody was interested in his music at the time. But he did it better than anyone else before him. And so originality doesn't matter. I'm just interesting. It's cool to kind of hear what their influences were.
I don't know. I think we're going to have to do an episode in the future on, Genesis and maybe more specifics of this time period.
The chord progressions, dude, and then just the way the sounds are produced. I bet I can sit down and find parallels. But I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just saying that, you know,
Well, also, you've heard a snippet. I think if you listen to the rest of these albums, you would hear.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I wouldn't say. Well, they sound like each other. I mean, certainly
it,
bands influenced each other. I mean, look at the Beatles. I mean, holy shit! But you know,
Yeah.
yeah, I think if you listen to both back to back, I don't know. Maybe I need to listen to both of them. But
I mean,
I'm
what
familiar with Ziggy Stardust and Diamond Dogs, and yeah, I see the comparison, but I wouldn't say they sound alike. That's just
Maybe
my
only
opinion.
if you take it from a really broad perspective of all
Well,
world languages.
that's where I'm coming from because
Yeah.
I did not grow up listening to this, and I'm coming at it from way, way, way back in the bleeder, nosebleed seats because I don't have connection to any of this. So it's easier for an outsider to see the parallels.
Okay.
Right. Well, Bowie didn't do. I don't think Bowie did like 20-minute songs and shit. I mean, they did some long stuff. There's a lot
Yeah.
more instrumental stuff where Bowie is more vocal. Now, when you look at Peter Gabriel and Bowie, yeah, I see some similarity.
Yeah. Definitely
I'm
more
trying to.
similarity between
I'm
Peter Gabriel and Phil Collins because I guess that's probably why it still worked afterwards because Phil's voice is
I'm
kind of has
trying
some of the
to.
same characteristics.
There is a song with David Bowie with a piano vamp in the back with very similar chord progressions.
Oh,
And
I have no doubt.
it stylistically is and I'm just wondering if that was like a subgenre that was very popular
Well,
at the
that style of
time.
piano playing is probably pretty common at that time. A lot of artists kind of use that kind of like simple little block chord style of piano playing. I mean, Beatles used it. So,
Well, I'm not just talking about the vamp. I'm talking about just the chord progressions and where things go. It's I bet if I sat down, I could make a parody, and you would know exactly who I'm trying to parody. And it could be David Bowie, and it could be it could be whatever this song is. I don't know what's the title.
well, I
It
moved
it
on to a
would
different screen now.
and you would know exactly what I mean when I say that I hear similarities, and this must have been in the air at the time. But like I said, to me it is everything's been done under the sun, and for one to claim that one is so original or whatnot doesn't know the history,
Well,
just
I think
hasn't studied enough of it.
well, I think Gabriel and Bowie had the same pot dealer.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
I've heard that rumor.
Scott says, that would be very interesting, Liza. I'd certainly like that. Okay, there is a challenge from Scott Hovitt.
More stuff to
I
do.
gotta get. I gotta immerse myself in this music and get a good parody out. I mean, if I can do corporate humor, I can do, I don't know, 1970s British band singer humor. I don't know.
I think we were all just emulating Bob Dylan, so you know what the fuck.
Oh, what the hell? Yes, that's exactly what was going on. Yes, Mike is totally right. Yeah, yeah. Mike solved the mystery here.
There you go, man. There you go.
Cool.
We're all doing Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. I would love to do a Bob Dylan. Oh my gosh.
Oh
Mike,
my
why do
God.
you have to put these ideas in my head? I'm busy
Oh
enough as
shit,
it
man.
is.
We can bring my buddy from Ohio on.
Oh yeah.
He is the ultimate Dylan. Yeah, he's seen him like I don't know, God, 100 times. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, let's
Scott,
dance with the
here we
moonlit
go.
night a little bit here.
I was correct in saying that this is reminiscent of Yes, that little segment.
Well, a bit. I mean,
Were they happening at the same time?
Oh yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
overlap.
there's been some comparisons. I mean, obviously, it's the music of the time. There's a little influence there, but
Music of the time.
and there was, they like to sneak stuff in there. I mean, obviously, this song is about selling marijuana. I mean,
It is?
by the
Wow.
oh, obviously,
Yeah.
man.
It's okay, Mike. I didn't. It wasn't obvious to me.
Selling England by the pound. They're selling marijuana, which they got off Bob Dylan.
Oh crap!
I'm gonna start all kinds of shit tonight.
Yeah, I'm
You
just
got
like,
the Heyoka mic coming here.
yeah, I'm just like
Uh,
pausing there. So
People are people are fact checking me.
I'll let you go.
Wait,
yes,
we're not on
Mike.
Facebook. I can't say just anything. Oh shit.
I'll just let
Oh
you go
gosh.
with it. See where you end up.
Yeah. Is that a knock at my door? Oh, come with
Yeah.
us,
But
man.
yeah, it's like, and in this, like, you could hear that Phil Collins. I mean, excellent drummer, great
Yeah.
with a feeling time and
Yeah.
shifting time, the meter shifts and everything like that. And and but also he there's moments where he could play very delicately, and then moments where he is like hard driving. And incidentally, since Led Zeppelin was mentioned, it was like in the 80s when Robert Plant, the vocalist from Led Zeppelin, started doing some solo stuff. Phil Collins backed him up on drums.
Oh.
He was like multitasking because I think it's like at 75, after he became the lead singer, when Gabriel left, he was in a band called Brand X that did like some kind of like a jazzy rock stuff. And so he was in two bands at once at the time.
Wow.
Well, here's the
Uh.
thing, man. If you look at any benefit concert, there's two people that are going to be there: Phil Collins and Eric Clapton.
Mm.
Seriously, man.
Hmm.
I'm being serious
Okay.
on this one. Yeah, about any benefit concert, man. There's Phil Collins. There's Eric Clapton. I mean, it just they're
Yeah.
there.
That
Yeah.
explained the humanitarian
Yeah. The
comment.
Live
Yeah.
Aid thing.
I forget
He
what
was
year.
famous for the fact that he played in both concerts. He played in the Live Aid in London, and then he took the Concorde and flew to the US. And then when the Live Aid concert started in the US, which was a few hours later, he performed there as well.
Well, Phil
Wait, what?
Collins.
Yeah. When was the
Phil,
Concorde grounded?
I don't know. That sounds like a question for Google.
Google.
so
Let
yeah, in
me.
86 and 87, Phil Collins was the drummer for Eric Clapton. In 86 and 87.
Oh yeah, and that's when he was doing all the pop ballads and stuff,
Yeah.
all these
And then
hit
he played
singles.
Live Aid in 85, a charity concert in 89. Doesn't say exactly what, but yeah. Oh, well, I guess with Clapton. So yeah, he was buds with the old Clap man.
Oh,
Clap.
ay, 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 Mike. The Concorde, I can't pronounce it the French way, was grounded in 2003. I thought it was grounded earlier than that. But, yeah.
Mm. People didn't care for the sonic booms.
No, it was too expensive to run, according to Google.
Well,
Google's not like Brave Search, mister. It gives you accurate information.
yeah, well, you
All
never
right,
know. You
then.
never know with the agendas of people what they were thinking.
Yes.
Do you have a pick from The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Mike?
Carpet crawlers.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Somehow I was missing
Yeah.
it here.
The carpet crawlers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the name doesn't do it just the hi-hat there. And I remember that Phil Collins did talk about in one of these interviews, I don't know if we'll get to that point, but he talked about how he really tried to appreciate the hi-hat. That was something that Buddy Rich did. And so it's something that there you just kind of hear this off, just right off of the beat. It's like this syncopated rhythm he's playing with the hi-hat. It's really cool. can't keep doing that. I'm enjoying it too much.
Man, man, man.
Oh, so anyway, but that whole album, the songs connect. They fade into one another, and uh, it's a whole concept album. I don't know what the concept. We'll have to ask Mike what the concept of the album is.
I
Well,
know, yeah.
well, according to Wikipedia, the Carpet Crawlers, the song tells the section of the album's story where Rael, the lead character, finds himself in a red carpeted corridor surrounded by kneeling people crawling towards a wooden door. Rael dashes by them towards the door and goes through it. Behind the door is a table with a candlelit feast on it, and behind that, a spiral staircase that leads upwards and out of sight. They go on to say the complex symbolism of Peter Gabriel's lyrics has been interpreted as referring to the fertilization journey or as describing a scene inspired by Gnosticism in which
Ah.
humanity is misled by the callers. Instead of the promise of heaven, the carpet crawlers find death and rebirth to a hellish environment.
Oh
Wow.
my God. Wow,
Oh,
Mike. Oh,
Deep.
this song is deep.
Yeah,
well, the
and
whole
you can get you,
album.
you can look up the lyrics on Google, man. That's
Oh, I
you
had
know, in my day,
no
you had to listen to the
idea.
album 48,000 times. Pick up the needle, put it back on. Pick up the needle, put it back on. Now you just go lyrics to Carpet Crawlers. Boom.
Hmm.
Was he always into Gnosticism?
I don't know, but I found that interesting myself.
Yes, I've heard
Dude.
echoes of that of Gnosticism in another song. I think it's
Scott says yes.
it was a
Yeah.
All right.
previous album. It was called oh, what was the song? It's something "Get 'Em Out by Friday."
Hmm.
I don't know if you remember that one, Mike.
Not off the top of my head. I'm sure if I
Oh,
heard it.
oh, I guess
I
I
mean,
should
I've
play
listened to all
it.
these albums at one time, but it's been a while. I mean,
Yeah.
Carpet Crawlers was very famous. I mean,
Wow. Oh my God. Now I understand.
and this is the last time apparently that Phil Collins, and you can hear Phil in there,
Yeah.
that they they basically did this. This was kind of as a duet. So,
Yep.
and yeah, when I saw them, I think both times I saw them, they did this song.
So
So they continue to do it.
to pick your brain, Mike. So every song on this particular album is kind of like a story.
Yeah.
Each
Yeah, The
song being
Lamb
a
Lies Down.
scene.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, it's a concept album.
I like this. Why was it never turned into like a musical, something like a
Well, it was theatrical on stage.
well, that's what I mean. I
Yes.
don't mean like like with I mean with their aesthetic made into a stage piece.
Well, they kind of performed it in that way.
Okay.
Peter Gabriel did dress up.
Okay. Well, this was
I'm hearing a little bit of like a
yeah, I'm hearing
scratchy
that.
noise.
That's you
Yeah,
know
me
what that
too.
is, right? You know what that is.
What
It's
is it?
RFI. Radio frequency interference. It's very low frequency and it's your phone.
Oh, oh.
And
Well,
it could be my phone too.
it stopped.
Well, yes, but I discovered that my phone was putting out RFI interference intermittently when I was fixing my preamp and shielding it. Your phone does it's amazing how it turned on now while we were having this conversation about Gnosticism and Peter Gabriel's work.
Well, get him out by Friday.
Well, oddly enough,
Oh, sorry, you were going to say something?
as I say, oddly enough, yeah, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway was never performed on Broadway, and it was not done by anyone else. However, it was, I don't know if they ever filmed this, but it was known for having a lot of backdrops and costume changes and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
the tour was theatrical.
Yep.
Well, for something, I mean, there's a lot of symbology in the lyrics. Now that you guys mention it, this is. I wonder. Oh,
Well, here, listen to these.
I wonder.
It and it actually goes on from there, but some of the later elements and this and lifeless packages, kind of like I heard Gnostic references in those. But
Yeah.
we're supposed to be talking about Phil, so I think we need to move back
Well,
on.
but he was in this thing that we're
Yes.
listening to now, so it's perfectly legit that we talk about. You know.
But that's another thing is he is an excellent drummer, and
Who was the lyricist in the band?
well, Peter.
Was it a collaboration or was just Peter Gabriel?
I can't tell you. I mean, it may have been different from one song to another, but I think it was largely him. But the band could talk about ideas. It's just he would, I guess, put it to lyrics. But the other band members might talk about different concepts and things that they wanted to express. So he would just kind of like maybe put it into words. But those band experiences a lot of times tend to be pretty collaborative, where they have a common vision that they want to put together.
Well,
Interestingly enough, there's really no footage of that tour. That would have been the one that, like, they said there's I guess a super deluxe edition that has a couple clips, but there's nothing. But there is. I found something interesting. You might want to keep a lookout for. There is a tribute band called the Musical Box that does 70s Genesis, and they have done this album before. Looks like right now I looked them up, and they are doing Nursery Crime and Foxtrot. Although the only tour dates I see at the moment are the UK and Canada, so. But they have toured the U.S. So if you ever see the Musical Box, it's a Genesis tribute band.
well,
It
we
does the
know you know why this is, Mike. Why that band isn't getting traction and why there's no video of these performances because Genesis is Planet Forbidden. It
Planet
just
Forbidden.
it's Planet Forbidden, my friend. Yes. I mean that's a Star Trek reference.
Genesis.
Yes.
I think
Genesis is Planet Forbidden.
Yes. Yes.
Actually, I made that guy sound a little bit too much like Jar Jar.
Like you
I bet
like Jar
somebody
Jar
recorded
Binks.
this tour and the Spanish Inquisition got it.
Well, all of the stuff we've been hearing tonight, I looked at like some caption after some of the titles. It seems to be from like a 2007 mix of it. So I think there was a reunion of Genesis 2006, 2007, and probably they had some of the earlier albums like remixed or something.
Oh, I'm sure. That's a thing,
Yeah,
Yep.
but it sounds great.
By the way, folks, for anyone who thinks I'm off the rocker, that's a quote from Star Trek 4. Okay, search
3.
for Spock. Is it? The search for Spock is 3. That's right. Number 3. I'm sorry, Star
3.
Trek people. Oh my God, I got it wrong. Number 3 with the new Savick. Okay, I know my Star Trek. All right. All
New
right.
Savick.
Yes.
Well, anyway, yes,
The new
Nursery
Savick was
Crime
the better Savick. You know.
So this is where Phil Collins is getting going, and Nursery Crime in 71, Foxtrot 72, and then we played the other 73 and 74. Peter left in 75, and then A Trick of the Tail was the next album received in 76. And I don't think it sounded drastically different at that point. It seemed to be a shift, maybe Abacab, definitely by Invisible Touch, um, is when
Yeah.
you heard a shift towards the pop side of things. Although, even on Invisible Touch, you could find some songs on there that, like Domino, that were, still pretty cool sounding, and I think inventive.
Did they continue with the Gnostic references?
I don't know. I'm not. Domino is one of those songs that's pretty. It's a bit of a story. It seems like, but I didn't study it. I probably should.
Eraserhead says Duke is where they go pop. Still a great album, he
Okay.
says.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now this
Well,
is one of my favorites, "A Trick of the Tail." This, I mean, yeah, lot of good stuff on this.
um, maybe we'll play that in a moment. I just want to put away
You
the slide, so to speak, here,
you
and
Yeah,
then
I
promised,
can't even think which one to suggest. There's multiple that come to mind.
I mean, you guys promised to explain to me the lyrics of "In the Air Tonight" a few
oh,
slides back. You never told me.
I
okay.
did.
Well, just for
You
anybody
I
that
don't.
no.
wants lists,
I don't know that one.
yeah,
I mean, I
Abacab
know the song,
81.
but
All right. Yeah, well, we're coming up to that point right here because after Duke, the tour for that album, Phil found himself a little bit lonesome and also going through separation from.
Lawrence did? When, Scott? Oh, my memory cannot be that bad.
I did what? No,
Uh,
I am bringing the meaning now.
oh, okay.
If you
Okay.
allow me to continue.
Okay, go on.
So in 1981, Face Value, Phil Collins' first solo album, was released because he had just bought his own home studio, and his wife and he had split up, and he felt he needed to do something. He had some time on his hands, and so he wrote "In
Mhm.
the Air Tonight." Now,
Oh, it was his divorce song. Okay.
well, there is a theory here that I am going to present to you, that gets suggested in this video. Number 3, if we can. All righty then. Play button.
First of all, "In the Air Tonight" is. I went through only a handful of your hits, and you're just amazing. You have this new box set, the singles, which is also on vinyl, which I love that you're doing on
These
vinyl.
are all the singles.
"In the Air Tonight" is the one. I mean, it just sticks in my head because that's the.
That's got a life of its own. I mean, that will outlive me. I think that song.
No, well, that could be the sequel to. That could be your next autobiography. Yeah, this book will outlive me. But is this true that this is what happened? This is what I heard. You were outside at night, and there was you saw someone drowning,
No.
and he didn't. Yeah, and he let him drown. He let him drown, and you go, oh,
Yeah.
and you watched the man basically murder somebody. And then, so instead of calling the authorities, you invited the stranger to your concert, and then.
Shone a light on him.
You shone a light on him, and you sang "In the Air Tonight," and you go, I know what you did, buddy. Oh my God.
Okay.
That is the best story I've ever heard of.
I know. Unfortunately, none of it's true.
What?
You know, I was just pissed off. I was angry.
At what?
Well, you go through a divorce, and sometimes it's like, please, I love you, I love you, I love you. Don't hang up, don't hang up. And then it's like, well, you.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that's when a song like "In the Air Tonight" comes out. There's obviously a lot of anger in there.
That's when that drum fill comes in. Where it goes.
By the time the end of the program comes, you'll be good at this.
It's not me I'm worried about. Not me I'm worried about. You don't understand. He really has been stressing about this for like months. Are you doing it? I know you're going on tour right now, but you're going.
I'm doing some shows, yeah.
All right,
London,
so that
Paris,
is,
Germany. Are
yes,
you doing anything in the States?
a bit of a urban
I'm just
legend
taking
there.
baby steps, My
I think
son,
that was
I've
an
got 3
urban
sons.
legend that
11-year-old
had been
played
going around
soccer,
for a
He was
while.
a whiz captain of his team.
I always figured it was a revenge thing, but I didn't know anything about his personal life, but now that it says it was inspired by his divorce, and of course,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then here we get I guess we get another explanation. There's a lot of videos about that behind the scenes or behind the story. What?
Phil
What?
Collins is absolutely amazing. Have you got some free tickets?
Yeah, I love Phil Collins. He's not here. His singing and his drumming.
He's a bit of a legend. Lots of dads like him. Dad rock. And the guitar. I can't remember the band he's in, though.
Dad rock.
He's in Genesis,
What?
really? Band called Genesis.
Who plays the drums?
Candle in the Wind.
No, that was Elton John.
No.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
on.
my God.
Yeah. All right, cool.
I can feel it
How long
coming
ago
in
was
the
this?
air tonight.
I don't
Come
know.
on.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh, Lord.
Do-do, 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 do-do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically The Phil by Phil.
We did a long tour in 1977, and the result of that was my marriage breaking up. And I went through all the things of trying to make it work, but by the time I came back from Canada, Mike and Tony were doing their solo albums, and so I had some time on my hands, and I just bought a little.
You got a super chat.
Oh,
So
and
I just
Ram.
fiddle
Le
about.
Flav.
Flavington. Yes, Flav. What can you do the honors, Liza?
Flavington.
Flav from Flavington.
Yeah.
The House Flavington.
The
Yes,
House of
Flav.
Flav.
Eliza, can you do the honors, please?
Yes. Flav
Oh.
says, I need to flee. Work and stuff. Have fun.
Oh,
10
thank you very much.
10 British pounds.
Thank you very much, Flav. In fact, you know what I'll do? The whole week I'll leave this intact, so that way I won't do the monetization trimming until that week.
We don't
Flav
need
is-
monetization because we have Flav.
Yes, Flav has donated, and so everyone thanks Flav because he
Thank
has
you,
donated and allowed me to not trim the thing for a week.
Yay.
All right, so let us soldier on. This will probably get clipped.
We must play it though. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I took over the master bedroom, moved everything out and put my studio in there. And it wasn't soundproofed, and it wasn't, there was clicks and buzzes. If the fridge went on or the phone rang, you heard it. I can't remember the
Awesome.
specific day of In the Air Tonight, but I mean, I had a really nice local pub that I had friends in, and I was going through a bit of a hard time, and so I'd go down there and have a few drinks and talk and laugh, and then come back ready to work. I had no one to answer to. I mean, I had a wife and 2 children and 2 dogs, and I didn't have anything suddenly. So it was
No.
like, a lot of time on my...
Usually, the best work that's out there was a collaboration between a human and the universe.
Mhm.
The best work out there is that.
Well, I think what we're going to do is hide that and bring up this here.
Oh, Inga! Oh, you have to bring my CFO into this.
Yes, well,
CFO, how dare you?
she needs us to sort through some images of
It was
perhaps
such a good
Phil
evening.
Collins. Perhaps Phil
Oh
Collins.
gosh. Oh no. Ah. No, that's not him.
That was in his Gnostic phase.
Hey, it would have been totally appropriate, but I don't think that's him.
No.
Well, is it somebody?
It's AI.
Mhm.
You are correct, ma'am.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Tarzan
Phil
and
Kenobi says Eraserhead. That's who it is.
Phil
Yeah.
Kenobi.
Yes.
Not Obi-Wan.
Obi
No.
Phil.
Obi Phil
Obi Phil.
Kenobi.
Obi Phil Kenobi.
This is not real. I don't think so. This doesn't look like the Tarzan from Disney.
Well, if you look at Phil there, he looks a bit older, so maybe he did a photo shoot with
Yeah, maybe.
this is actually a photo. This is
Oh,
from
really?
a Google something. I think it might be aren't they isn't Disney thinking of doing and they may have even done it. I don't know, like a live
A live action
Tarzan.
Tarzan.
And so they just got a photo shoot with the new live action Tarzan
That might be in the works. Who
and Phil,
knows?
who was known for the animated version, the hit. But yeah, this is a real photo.
Okay.
So I
That's
asked,
a strange photo.
how about this one? Like the earlier edition of Tarzan.
No.
That's no.
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 Yeah, I did a request for Phil and Tarzan. Phil Collins and Tarzan. And there's one I could not include because Tarzan looks like
Oh
Tarzan
my
and Jane
God.
merged together. It was really bizarre. And I was like,
Scott. Yeah. We gotta stop using stable stable diffusion. Yeah, that's definitely him on the drums. Okay.
all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yep, that is a real photo. How about
Nah.
who could it be?
Well, it's him, but that microphone is attached to what?
Who can it be now?
Who could it be now?
Oh.
Who could it be now? Oh.
Well, yeah, that is.
Or who are you? Who? Tell me who the fuck are you?
What the hell is going on? All right, yeah, the floating mic. All right.
I'm sure Phil hung out with Keith back in the day before he died.
It is Phil and his family.
I don't know. It looks like a painting if it is.
No. The Adams family, maybe.
Yeah, the kids are borderline scary.
Yeah, this is generated.
Yeah, that's not real. Now he did do a lot of charity work for kids. You were asking about the humanitarian thing earlier. He did a lot of charity for children and homeless, among other things.
Yeah, he seemed to have humble beginnings. He has talked about sometimes when he auditioned for Genesis, how the other three guys, that went to Charterhouse were a bit wealthier, and he had to actually work for 2 weeks because they were going away or doing something, and then he wasn't going to start getting paid for work in Genesis until after 2 weeks after he got accepted in the band. So he had to find work for 2 weeks, and so he was like painting houses and stuff.
Poor guy, man. Why couldn't they start paying him right away? These rich kids.
Yeah, rich kids.
Don't know. Well, here we go. We didn't answer this one. Is this him and his family? Well, some of them.
He doesn't know what this is.
Wow.
Well, this is a real photograph, but
that looks real.
yeah, it's a real
I don't really
photograph.
know
I
his
think
family, but-
I think he has 5 kids. Oh, I should have checked this out, but I didn't go through any of the personal stuff. But I think he said he has 5 kids in total now. 2 sons. One I know for sure is a drummer. That's Nick Collins.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So that's his backup drummer now. Well, not backup. It's the one that drums for him while he sings now. Phil and wife. Is this really Phil? I say at some point because he had he didn't have one wife.
Scott Hovett says he has 2 ex-wives.
Yes. which
So
means he's got a
is this the
current.
one that broke his heart?
They apparently they
It doesn't matter. Is
both
she
broke his
real?
heart.
Is what we're wondering.
It does
It
matter.
looks like a real woman.
It looks real.
Yeah. That's a real photograph.
Looks like the real thing.
That's a real
So it's
photograph.
real.
Yeah, that's
I
not
just
stable
wanted to
diffusion.
know if I was calling a real woman a bitch or some AI bitch.
Ugh.
He broke
How
his
about
heart,
this?
man.
How about this one?
Well, maybe he was a
Is that supposed to
monster.
be Phil?
Yeah.
No. No.
Just to put it out there, folks. He
That's
is
not
a
even him, much less a wife.
he is a public figure, and we think we know him, but we don't know the ins and out of that marriage. To be honest
No,
with you,
that's true.
No, we
that is
don't.
very true.
Maybe he was a bastard.
Maybe he was a bastard. Yeah.
Well,
Who
two
knows?
We
good
don't-
people could still even have irreconcilable differences.
Well, that's no fun, Lawrence.
Oh, you always got to find a bad guy, huh?
Well, yeah, you got to spread dirt. Come on, man.
Yeah. How do you? I
We
mean,
got to make
that-
him. We got to make him into an OJ.
Oh no! Come on, Mike. OJ. I mean, you can make
He was
money.
guilty. He was guilty. He looks guilty.
Yeah.
You think he did it?
He did it. I
Well,
don't even know what he did, but he did it.
the book he published afterwards was. I don't
You guys are too much.
Now we're getting into the ganja pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil looks a little toasted there.
It's the beard.
No, it's the eyes.
Oh.
It's like, hey, Peter, give me the freaking microphone, man. Don't bogart that joint.
I wouldn't know. Yeah, I wouldn't know how they'd remember the lyrics after getting stoned.
Are you kidding me? Most of the bands in the 70s were stoned.
Well, I know, but wouldn't you forget things and then?
Not if you wrote it stoned.
Oh, okay. I guess.
Very
That-
true.
That was the key to marijuana, man. I mean, if you were stoned when you wrote it, then you remember it. If you otherwise, yeah, no, you're screwed.
The key to marijuana.
The key to marijuana: make sure you're toasted every time you play. Well, I sit and wonder, how did the Grateful Dead? How did Jerry play a damn guitar, tripping on LSD? Who knows?
Especially with like a missing finger.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know.
Or
Got around
part
that
of a
on the
finger.
banjo. But anyway, Bill and Peter.
Yeah, is that them?
I'm guessing it is. I don't
Yeah.
know. Eraserhead
I thought I
says
already
it's
said
real.
I thought I already said real.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, you seem to engage with it better. How about this one?
That is
No.
not real. No way that's real. Maybe in the Twilight Zone it's real, but no.
Oh man.
What
Well,
the
I
hell
mean,
is that?
Oh, this was the picture of them after they met with Jerry Garcia and Owsley. Yes.
Bwahaha.
When people
says
see
it
things
is.
melting, they actually melted.
This is the picture of the Greys that decided to imitate them.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I
Well,
guess.
for a gray, it's convincing, but
At some point. Is this the band Genesis at some point? Because the lineups did change.
yeah.
Yes, this was during We Can't Dance, I Can't Dance, Nobody Can Dance during that
Wait.
period. What?
I don't recall.
No, that was that's a Peter Gabriel song. I don't remember. I don't recall. I don't remember anything at all.
I don't know this song. Don't talk to me about Peter Gabriel until so. That's when I know him. I don't know him before that.
At
I
some
am
point.
discovering new things today.
So
No, that is a Renaissance fair picture. That is not
Oh, my
them. That's not going to be them. No.
there's no Renaissance fair there.
That's the
It
cover band,
well, with
man.
the guy with the long hair, sure, it's Renaissance enough. Yeah.
Is that
It
the
looks like
tribute
a
band I was
painting
talking
by
about?
Da Vinci. Yeah.
Balding
I'm
guy with long hair by Da Vinci.
what
Uh,
prompt did you enter for that? Okay, there's the Renaissance Fair one.
here
Okay.
I can only say, are these human beings?
Maybe. No.
I
No,
What's that
tried.
reptile?
I tried. Well, I tried to get a picture of Phil Collins and the Gorn at a Renaissance fair.
I see.
Ah, Eraserhead says that's not Genesis, that's Revelation.
That's right.
That's one
And
of those
Razorhead
creatures.
knows, man.
One of those creatures. And then how about Peter and Phil again?
God.
Not
Let's.
human.
Okay, so
Man.
let's honor a little request or something, Mike. I'll play another track. What would you like to hear?
Any particular?
Did you? Well, it's up to you, but you did mention "Trick of the Tail."
Oh yeah, yeah. Ah, man, I don't know. Just go with "Dance on a Volcano."
Duh.
Ah, in fact, yes. I think that's a rather good idea. Not literally dancing on a volcano, but
Well, yeah, that too. But you know,
okay. So here we go. I'm gonna have to hit the back button,
Good choice,
and
says Eraserhead.
yeah.
I'm sorry, my back
Well,
button.
Eraserhead has good taste, man.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yes, he does.
Cool beans.
Trick of the Tail right after
We
Broadway.
should do
Okay.
an entire episode on the Gnostic connections
I
of
would like to do
Genesis.
an album like
Whoa!
next week. Mike and I were
Woo!
talking last week, and he was thinking of doing yes. But you know what I'd like to do is just maybe one album and talk about the making of it. So I was going to see if I could
Mm,
get some background info on Tales from Topographic Oceans.
Oh man, the one Wakeman
mm.
quit over. Seriously.
Well, for a little while, he came back.
Yeah, but I mean, it was 4 long songs. But anyway, yeah. You
Or
really
it could
want
be
to?
another album if you have one to suggest.
Hmm. Wow.
Maybe a Recycler.
Man, I'll have to think on that one.
But yeah, I'd like to maybe just pick one album and research it and play excerpts and talk about the writing and the music and everything. I
Mm-hmm.
think that would be great. Uh so I am looking here.
Eraserhead says, I love Tales from Topographic Oceans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like 4 20 minutes. Oh, we got Dan. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I remember I had the record, had it on record. It was two records.
Are we talking about this one or Tales?
Hell,
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it was like 4 20-minute songs, and Wakeman didn't want to do it live.
hmm. Well, that
Scott says, wouldn't it also be interesting to see how many different bands Phil worked with?
oh well, so
Yes.
during this.
How many episodes do you want to do?
Well, while he was with Genesis, he did Brand X, and then in the '80s, I know that like in '84 is when he started the whole pop stuff. I like Face Value, yeah, kind of poppy, but it didn't get as poppy as like in '84. I think what was Against All Odds, that song, and for a film by the same name.
Oh,
That's the one. Take a look at me now.
yeah. There's just an empty space.
Yeah, that one.
There's nothing left here to
That's
remind
that
me
started a whole,
of your face.
the whole pop ballad thing that he did then.
Scott said, "Oh no, Eraser says Scott. If that's the case, I'd love to do a whole Brand X stream. His fusion playing is amazing. We got some good suggestions from the chat.
Okay. Well, definitely in the future. We'll see at what point. I think we're going to do a Yes album, probably Tales
Close
next
to the
Sunday.
edge.
The week after that is our 1 year anniversary, and I've been promising some other folks that we're going to do This Is Spinal Tap. And then after that, we could take apart some of these great albums, or at least that would also work, doing an era, the Brand X era with great song, and like especially after the losing Peter Gabriel, to kind of start off at the first track where Phil's singing on an album for the first time and his drums are still there and really present.
Was he singing and playing at the same time? Did he do that?
No, do you mean drums?
Not when he was singing lead.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he'd always run back to the drums for his drum bits.
Right. Who would cover the drums when he performed this?
Chester Thompson.
Except for 1 year of Bill Bruford.
Bill Bruford, right. Who was also in Yes before that.
Cross-pollination.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of... I remember getting the box set of CDs called... I think it was Yes Story is the name of it. I still have it on the shelf.
Yeah.
And it had that fold-out tree of all these different artists and bands. And then there was Genesis, Yes, King Crimson, and you could see how different members went from one band to another, and it was like this huge web. And
Scott says he did some songs where he sang and played. That's incredible. You see someone playing piano or guitar, singing all the time, but drums are such a physical thing. And to sing, it requires a lot of...
I think Don Henley sang from behind the kit sometimes, too.
Yeah.
Okay, is that Eagles guy?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Just trying to picture the right people in my head.
But, yeah.
Oh, by the way, people, if you want to cover the Eagles on YouTube and not get copyright struck, because from what I've heard, the Eagles do not share or just claim monetization where whomever their publisher is. Go to We Are the Hits, sign up, it's free, and use their system to upload your Eagle covers, my friends. Or you will have another tequila sunrise. Sing your YouTube channel goodbye. So
yeah, apparently they don't just take monetization; they go after. I wouldn't even necessarily say it's their label.
The label. But yeah, go to We Are the Hits and do your covers through them. And when you get full monetization on YouTube, like Lawrence has, you could do covers and get paid for it.
Yeah,
Lawrence.
there you go.
Lawrence, why aren't you doing covers?
Yeah,
why? I'm trying. I'm trying to get. There's so many things he could do with synth and saxophone, or just
Well, I'm finally got the studio the way I want, and so I'm going to be coming out with more material soon. Now let me see. I'm trying to look up here because you posed the question: who's the record label for the Eagles? I want to say Warner Brothers, and that would be in line with what I've heard about Warner
that
Brothers.
would be in line. Yeah.
Well, I was trying to find out for you as well. Apparently, there's no Gnostic direct links to Yes, although John Anderson was kind of new agey in some of his stuff. But I found it interesting because I was looking at Close to the Edge, which says the song Close to the Edge was influenced by Anderson reading The Lord of the Rings and listening to Symphony Number 6 and 7 by, I'm sure I'm going to butcher this, Jean Sibelius, something like that.
Sibelius.
Sibelius,
Mhm.
yes. So, but anyway, it has a lot of metaphors. But interestingly enough, Tales from Topographic Oceans was a concept album based on John Anderson's interpretation of the four Shastric scriptures detailed in a footnote from, and I've read this book years ago, Paramahansa Yogananda's Autobiography of a Yogi.
Oh, yeah.
So it's based on the Hindu text, the Shastras.
Well, when you look at people who are into comparing religions and stuff and researching them, you find a lot of parallels between this and Gnostics and the Toltec
Well,
religions that
yeah.
are
John
very
Anderson had a solo
interesting.
album called Toltec.
Yes,
Yes.
he did. So yeah, and I use that term New Age very loosely because
Yeah.
I grew up in that age, and there was all the good Windham Hill music and Michael Hedges and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Uh, I dabbled in it, but I don't know. To me, the whole thing basically was kind of like taking stuff from other cultures, kind of, which is to me kind of what the whole Wiccan thing kind of is too. But I got more into actually directly when I actually met some people doing some of the Native American stuff. So I don't know,
Well,
but
well, I mean,
anyway, yeah, it's
it
very interesting.
it's about not being a part of an organized religion, but exploring and finding truth where it is, and
Yes.
wherever the culture, whatever culture has it.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. So
But
but
it seems to me, you're right, Mike. To me, it seems like a lot of these things that are popping up are becoming their own uh, controlled religions themselves with a hard dogma and stuff. And yeah,
yeah. Well, it's like people arguing genres of music and getting all technical. I'm like, do you like it or not?
exactly,
To me, if
exactly.
it defies a description, all the better, So,
Yes,
but
yes.
anyway, yeah, some of those early Yes albums, it could be interesting to explore. Yes.
Hmm.
Cool beans.
Yeah, and especially talking about lyrics and meanings of things. I mean, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and yeah, Tales definitely had a lot of the revealing science of God and the ancient and ritual. Yeah, it was definitely a journey album of sorts.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep.
I think
Oh,
I think
Well,
Eraserhead says, "I'd love a yes deep dive."
we'll
yeah.
do. I think we'll do albums or eras, and maybe not back to back. Every few weeks, maybe we'll retouch in again. But I'd like to. I think I'd like to do Tales from Topographic Oceans first, just that era and that
Right.
album.
And yeah, and Wakeman was on that. That would be from the era of the classic Yes lineup, as some people refer to it.
Hmm.
Steve Howe, Chris Squire, Wakeman, Howe, and I think Bruford had left by then.
Mm.
I think we had Alan White, so
Yep.
I'm pretty sure on that one.
Yeah, and talk about some changes. When Trevor Rabin came in, it was like,
Oh God, yeah, that's that's the '80s, and I
yeah.
did see that lineup. At first, I was like, because I was a big Steve Howe fan, being a guitar
Hmm.
player, and yeah, I was just like, I gritted my teeth. But then I took it from the perspective because they did get a little poppy then, but not
Hmm.
not completely over the wall. But I basically the way I dealt with it was I said, I listened to the music and I said, well, this is better than most of the shit that's being put out right
Yeah,
now.
right.
So, but I did see them, and yeah, yeah, they had some good stuff, and they did some pretty deep stuff too. So,
Yeah, there was a three-part thing like during that period. Well, this was in the mid '90s. An album called Talk, and
yeah,
it was the Raven and
yeah.
Tony K lineup. Um,
Well, the one that,
and
yeah, that was a
there
good
was a
album.
song on that, a three-part song called Silent Spring that was really good.
Yeah.
And so there was some moments from that lineup that I really did like.
Oh, all of them. Well, the one that really got me because I love John Anderson. I think he's the greatest vocalist ever. But when they had the drama album that John Anderson wasn't on, that's where it got weird. And they had a different keyboardist. It was basically Steve Howe and Alan White and Chris Squire. But that actually is a really good album.
Uh,
I never did see that tour. I wish I had, but anyway, yes, yes.
yes. Well, we are going to work on that this week. I think you've probably all realized that we are winding down. I want to thank our chat. I think tonight, Brown, after the musings, did announce that they were going to be coming back on. So I think that's why, we didn't have all of our.
Oh, we got our diehards, and
Yeah, we got our
everyone else,
diehards.
they can
Thank you,
watch it on
diehards.
the
Yeah,
replay.
they went back on to talk, I guess, more about Fantastic Four or something. But
We got our diehards in the chats.
yes,
Yay.
and it was an
Yes.
enjoyable night. This is 2 weeks in a row now where I've been kind of like, I don't know. When I'm talking music, I'm less stressed.
Because
And
we're talking music. You're talking
Music.
stuff that you love, that you know, that you live. With
I
movies, it's
live.
kind of hard.
Yeah. So
Music
next week.
transcends a lot of things, man.
So next week, I
know.
will definitely have Liza listen to Tales from Topographic Oceans this week.
Yes.
I'll be doing my research, and she will be telling us what journey it brings her on. We're gonna see what this does to the Liza.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yep,
Mhm.
and no
Journey in your-
psychedelic substances shall be used during the listening. It shall be a pure listening.
Well, that's no fun. No.
Well, okay, I can't promise I'll keep rabbit tobacco out of it, but
Well, for those who
Let's
don't
see,
know,
one listen with, one without. No, I'm just
rabbit tobacco is something that does grow on our property every couple of years. It's a wild thing out here.
It's a biannual.
Yeah, it's also
weed.
known as sweet everlasting, I think.
Yes, and
Yeah,
people in down in the South used to smoke it, and it when you burn it, it smells like maple syrup, and way back in the day, Native Americans used to use it as smudging herb to get rid of evil spirits. I have a bag of rabbit tobacco with me all the time.
really.
Yeah.
So does it have
It's a
like?
beautiful herb, and it's wild. But
So
it
it has
only
a calming effect, or what does it do?
well, it was used when you inhale the smoke. It was used to treat throat infections of all things. But it has such a beautiful smell. It really does. When you burn it, it smells like maple syrup. It just has a beautiful calming effect. You can make teas out of it too. It's actually related to tarragon of all things, but
I
it
was
is
going
an
to say, is that the
aster.
real name of it, rabbit tobacco, or?
Yeah, rabbit tobacco was it I guess the name in the South because people used to smoke it. If you couldn't afford tobacco, you used to go and pick rabbit tobacco. Although that would be hard to do all the time because it is a biannual. It only pops up every other year, and when it does pop up, I pick it.
Well, I
And I
asked
keep-
because in Europe, um, similar to sage. There was mugwort, which
Mm.
was
Oh,
also back in the day of sailing ships referred to as sailors' tobacco, because
oh,
mugwort, if you didn't have tobacco or couldn't afford it, the stuff grows like weeds. I planted a couple of them in my yard. I can't. I got to keep cutting them back. That stuff spreads like wildfire.
nice.
But
And does it
but it
have
does.
a nice
It doesn't
smell
get.
or?
It's pleasant enough. I was going to say it doesn't get you high or anything, but it it is said to have calming properties. So
Right.
Hmm.
but yeah,
Well,
it was called sailor's tobacco.
one thing that the leaves of rabbit tobacco sweet everlasting, because it is related to tarragon and it's in the aster family. I did a little research, and people used to also chew on it when they had toothaches, and it does have a numbing effect. But
Hmm.
psychedelic, no. But it
Oh no, no, yeah, yeah.
but
No,
it
there's a
was
lot of herbs that people don't. That I mean, are perfectly legal and they don't get you high. But there's herbs that help with, that you can smoke that help with all kinds of different things. And I mean, they don't get you high or anything, but yeah, people use them for,
mm,
remedies.
Yeah.
So,
right. Scott says that would be nice. Love maple syrup. When I used to get firewood, maple trees smell great. Hmm.
yes, they do.
Very cool. Well, if you live in the southeast and you see something pop up that has a lot of white fuzzy flowers, and even after the flowers are dry, they stay up in the snow or in the cold. That's sweet everlasting or rabbit tobacco. And when you rub your fingers on the leaves, you will smell the maple syrup on your hand. That's how you know for sure that it's the right herb. And you can put it in an herb burner, and it will make your house smell really nice and get rid of evil spirits.
Oh,
It's a very
wonder
beautiful
if it grows
wild
in
herb.
Tennessee.
It must, Mike. It must. I mean, oh, wait. Lawrence is pulling up some pictures. There we go. He can show you.
Well, this here on the right.
That's it.
Uh, yep.
That's it. Yep, yep,
So,
yep.
ooh,
If you see that, wait till it gets a little poofier and then harvest it.
yep.
That kind of looks familiar.
It should. You guys should have it in Tennessee.
It's called Sweet Everlasting.
Sweet everlasting
Or rabbit
or
tobacco.
rabbit
Well, that's what
tobacco.
I was wondering though. If you were to look that up, you would look up Sweet Everlasting.
Oh, you might even find it helpful, like with bronchitis and stuff too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Uh,
okay.
just an an incense. I'm not saying
Yeah.
to inhale the smoke directly too much, but the incense,
Oh, it was
it does
not
help
yeah. If
expand
you
the tubes.
The lungs. Yeah, if you also put it, I also read this. If you put it in boiling water and if you take in the steam, of course, not right on top of the pot, but you take in the steam, that's good for your lungs, and it's good if you have some type of lung infection.
Hmm.
It kind of help
Interesting.
you with that. Yeah, it was used medicinally, and for spiritual stuff by the Native Americans. And it's sad how a lot of people we've lost the history of our land. We don't know all of the there's so many healing herbs on our land.
Well, we poison them.
Yeah, we poison them, or
Yeah.
we just we just call them weeds and not look into them, and you know.
Well, every part of the dandelion is edible,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
but
And
not if you
soon,
put chemicals in your grass.
no,
That's
No.
what
no,
most people
no.
do. And I remember a native elder saying that one time years ago that one day we may regret all these chemicals we're putting in the ground because,
Oh, we do regret it now. I mean,
well,
we
we
do.
do, but
Lawrence and I
powers that
do
be don't.
not. Our homestead, there is not one pesticide or herbicide
Yeah, I
in
can't
our
go that far
cabinets.
either. I'm not gonna say I never in the past, but yeah, I can't do it
Well,
anymore.
well, after you learn about what the stuff does, I mean, you can't blame people who don't know. That's why you should tell people, and they should look into it.
No,
But
but I hear, some people, I've heard people even, talking about Roundup, calling it, napalm and whatever, even though it's more like Agent Orange, but
yeah,
it's,
Hmm.
it
it literally
what
is.
what
Yeah.
Roundup really does, it kills the microbiome of the soil, which is why it's such an effective herbicide. But when you kill the soil, you kill the immune system of the plants, and you're also killing your own microbiome, because if you do a little more digging, you find the stuff that should be in your gut is in the dirt. So if you like cancer and all that nasty
Jeez.
stuff, I
Well,
mean,
yeah, there's in Connecticut, a raptor place that they do rehabilitation and house a lot of ones that can't go back out. And I donate to them every now and then, but they show some purposely graphic videos. And I remember seeing one of a hawk basically spitting up blood and all that shit.
it's
It was some kind of
horrible,
pesticide. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and
horrible.
I mean, yeah, and absolutely. And I'm like, yeah, more people need to watch this, because that'll burn an image in your head that you will never, if you want to go out and put poison in your ground after that, you're like, oh
To
man.
get rid of a few weeds that actually may be beneficial to you, we need to, before we call a plant useless nuisance, to look into it, you know?
Hmm.
It's one
Oh
thing to
yeah, yeah, yeah.
manicure your property, naturally through hard work, and then there's another thing to use stuff that's gonna kill everything, including
Exactly.
you in the long run. So, and your neighbors. And
Well, we're
so,
just lazy. What can we say?
no
Well,
laziness, Mike. No, say
Well,
no to
I
laziness.
mean, yeah, the human race in general. Well, folks, we went from Phil Collins to
yeah,
yes to
yeah. I was
Sweet
gonna say,
Everlasting to killing
yeah,
ourselves with Roundup.
yeah,
What a
Yes,
night, a well-rounded night. Thank you very much.
I
yes.
know, right?
Well, in those days, in the '80s, I didn't know half the stuff I know today.
Exactly. None of us did. None of us did. We've learned, and we're doing, you know, we're trying to do the right
Yes,
thing now.
Scott. I've been meaning to try that. Yes.
Try what?
It's vinegar and there's a couple other things. My wife sent me it. I don't know how much of what. I got to look that up. It's a vinegar solution. I think it has salt maybe. It's got a couple things in it with the vinegar, and it's supposed to work as good as Roundup, and it's all natural.
Oh,
So right on,
cayenne
Scott.
pepper can also help.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah, I
bunch of
heard cayenne pepper and oregano, but
Well,
that's
that
more for like
insect
not
repellent.
that's for insect repellent. Anything in the mint family would work for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I remember we had a wasp nest one year on the front porch in the door.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Whoa!
it
How
was
did
real.
that happen, Mike?
I don't know, but it was pretty macabre. But anyway, I was at work, so the wife's calling, freaking out about this, and couldn't get
Yeah.
anybody to come out, with the pesticides. But she actually had a guy said, mix up a solution of Dawn dishwashing soap and water.
Yeah.
And of course, he advised to go out there with a spray bottle, and I said, I'm not going to sit there with the
Mm,
spray bottle
yeah,
spraying
no.
wasps. So I basically went out with a bucket of the solution, flung the door open, wham, and then ran my ass back into the house and
Yeah.
came back. And then I came back with the spray bottle. It makes them, the ones that survive it are drunk. But so, I
Yeah.
mean, there are ways if you have to, You know, I don't really like to kill anything. If they just put their nest up in a tree, I'd leave them alone.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, us
you know, there's
too.
a certain point where you go, okay, I can't.
Well,
You
that's
know,
understandable,
on my
Mike.
front
No.
door.
No, every
That's
day that you're going in and out, you're taking a
Yeah,
risk.
that's I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, everything within reason. If I mean, if it's something that you have to do to be safe, that's fine. It's like us with the rattlesnake that we have for a pet, you know.
We don't have one as a pet.
It's
Oh
like
man, you got an Eastern Diamondback?
our cat adopted a rattlesnake. I swear that he did.
Oh man.
Yeah, and
You
so
know, in Florida, you have the biggest rattlesnake of them all. People think it's the Western Diamondback. It is the Eastern Diamondback. You do
uh-huh.
not have him living in your backyard, do you?
Oh, they're everywhere here. We also have
We
panthers.
don't know which type anything is.
Well, the Eastern Diamondback is the biggest rattlesnake. It is huge.
Mm.
Well, this is
So,
not. This wasn't that. I think he's a pygmy, but their venom
oh,
is worse
yeah, there
than.
is a pygmy rattlesnake. Yeah, they're
Oh, okay.
little. They're little
But
guys.
the thing is, Mike, we do have rattlesnakes, but we also have possums. And the thing is, possums have a built-in anti-venom.
Yes, they
They
do.
can handle snake bite because they eat the snakes. So,
So do
you
king
know,
snakes.
yeah, the king snakes. I've seen really big ones. Leave them alone. Leave the possums alone, and you'll
Leave the
be
possums alone. Sounds like
leave
a
them.
good song, man.
Oh
Leave
yeah,
the
that,
possums alone.
it's time for collaborative composition
This is
called
a
"Leave the Possums
Where's Bob
Alone."
Dylan when you need him?
Yeah,
Leave the
Yeah.
possums
I can hear
alone.
Peter Gabriel singing that now. And leave the possums
Alone.
alone.
And the possum lies down. No.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my God, it's gotten silly. How many people do we have left?
Oh yeah.
oh, we have
6.
more people now than before.
Do we? Oh,
We do.
you guys are gluttons for punishment, let me tell you.
Yes.
Who knows where it goes? Oh my God, it's
Nobody.
almost 10. Let's
Yeah,
get going.
we do need to wind
It's
down.
Mikey's bedtime.
Yep.
Good
Okay.
night, Scott, Eraserhead, whoever's left out there in
Yep.
Earworms
And
land.
Vlav, thank you
Flav,
for
I
joining us
think Flav left.
through this journey through just about everything plus Phil Collins. Um,
Yeah.
next week, we're going to look at Tales from Topographic Oceans by Yes.
Yes.
And I guess that's about it. I guess there's nothing left except to play a little bit of Olivier Duches's national anthem.
There you
All
go.
right, let's
And I'm going to
do
say
it.
good night. I got to get going. Good night,
Okay.
Good night,
everybody. Good
Mike.
night.
Good night.
Bye. Ciao.
Uh, 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 uh. Hmm?